Hello and welcome to episode 7 of Up the Posh. I'm Kev, and wow, I've been doing this every day for a week. Who'd have thought? Hopefully that's going to be something that I'm going to keep going long term, especially going into the launch of Football Manager 16 in a couple of weeks' time. Coming up later in this episode, I've got a live com of the top of the table clash between Posh and second place Wigan. So that's going to be coming up in a little while, but before I get to that, just want to recap how things have been going since you were last with us. The last game we had in a live com was way back in October, so nearly 2 months of game time ago now, against Coventry at home, which we won 2-0. Now, I'm not going to go through every one of these games individually, purely because there's 10, 12 games. I was tempted to stop for a live com a little bit sooner, but really there wasn't anything that really caught my interest as a particularly good game to do a live commentary on, especially because the run of form is just silly. We're still unbeaten in the league. The only game we've lost all season is still that League Cup game against Everton, right back at the start in one of the earliest episodes. And we just don't look like losing a game. If you see from that commentary match, we drew the next game, but from there, it's just been win after win after win. So many goals scored, hardly any conceded. This game in particular, 5-1 at home to Colchester in the Johnson's Paint Trophy South semi-final. We had youth team players on the pitch. And we still put 5 goals past a team who were also in this division. So Jack Friend was a youth team player making his debut for us, and he actually scored a cracking goal. This is a young lad who's never made an appearance for the club before, and I mean we were already I think 3-0 up by this point, but for a youngster to pick the ball up and do that with it on his debut, that'll do. That was pretty impressive. And yeah, the reason lads like him are playing is because we really are down to bare bones in the squad. Through a combination of injuries and me getting rid of anything that's not tied down in an attempt to have some money freed up for the upcoming transfer window so that I can bring some players in. So anyone who wasn't pretty much guaranteed a starting spot has gone out on loan. Even the fringe players who were sort of getting onto the bench and making appearances earlier in the season, likes of Joe Gormley, Carl Vassell, Kieran Sadlier, Harry Booterman, Sean Brisley, these players would have played 4 or 5 games over the last 12 matches if they'd have been at the club. But I need to free up some wage budget, and we've successfully done that now. So I've still got £600,000 of transfer budget to spend, but more importantly, I've got £3,000 of spare wage budget. So if I can spend wisely, I might be able to bring in 1 or maybe 2 players in the transfer window. And as we are looking pretty much comfortable for going up, I'm fairly happy to bring a couple of players in while the wage budget is artificially low, because we've got players out on loan, and then let those players come back to bump the squad out a little bit again. Yes, we're going to go well over our wage budget at that point, but we're 10 points clear at the top of the league. It's not even Christmas yet. If we don't get promoted, it will be a level of implosion that would surely only result in me being sacked anyway, so it wouldn't be my problem anymore. I've been trying to figure out why we're being quite so successful. I've never had a 19-game unbeaten run, certainly not in League One or this early in a save before. Probably later on, 10 seasons into a save, when you get to that point where you're at the top of the Premier League, you've won it for the 4th season in a row, and you're winning the Champions League, and yeah, you go on these kind of unbeaten runs then, but you don't get it in the first season, you don't get it in League One. But I don't know, I'm starting to suspect that this database I'm playing on might be a little iffy. I don't know if it's by a Posh fan. I assure you I've not fiddled with it in any way. I do actually own the in-game editor. I think you pay like a £5 to get the in-game editor, but I disabled it for this save, so I can't actually use it to go in and see what's going on with my players. But if you look at League One overall, Obviously, we've got Lee Angol is top goal scorer in the division on 14 goals. This is a lad who, if I believe my assistant manager, shouldn't even be getting on our bench. Average ratings, we've got the top 4 highest rated players in the division. Cozzy and Clay, 19 games in the season, nearly at the halfway point, is averaging over 8. And I've never seen anything like that before. But when you're clicking on these players, this is what makes me think there's something a bit fishy going on. It's saying he's a decent player for most Premier Division sides. Stephen Darby, this is a guy we paid £250,000 for in closed season. Decent player for most Premier League sides. Connor Washington, who's been playing in the advanced playmaker role for us. Decent player for most Premier League sides. He's scored 10 goals as well. John Taylor, decent player for most Premier League sides. You get the message. I've got a squad of players that wouldn't look out of place in the Premier League. So understandably, that's why we're top of League One. But I don't really know why that's happened, because in real life that's certainly not the situation with Posh. But anyway, we'll worry about it. I'll probably get stuffed by Wigan in this game now, and all this talk of, I don't understand why we're so good. I'll just be furiously mocked in the comments, which is fine. Feel free to use the comments to mock me. We are completely down to bare bones for this game against Wigan. If we get into the preview, it's live on TV, by the way, as well. But if we get into the team selection, you'll see that we have a bit of a striker crisis. Now, I know I've been trying to sign a striker all season, but about a week and a half in game time ago, Connor Washington got injured. He's out for, well, he was originally out for 3 to 4 weeks. He's only out for another week now. And then in the very next game, Lee Angol got injured as well. He's out for another couple of weeks. So what it means is, bearing in mind I've sent all the other strikers out on loan, we don't have any strikers apart from young Jack Friend, who scored that excellent goal in the Johnson's Bank Trophy in midweek. So we've been playing Erhan Oztum up front for the last couple of games. He's not been doing too badly. He scored a goal, I think it may have been last game or the game before. He's actually on the transfer list for us, so I'm looking to move him on in the transfer window, purely because he's not quite as good as the 3 attacking midfielders that I've already got in the squad, and I'm now of a mind of starting to try and build a team to take on the Championship, and someone who can't get into my side in League One isn't really going to be the kind of player I want to be keeping around in the Championship. So it's time to be moving him on and bringing in a replacement who can ideally replace one of these 3 guys and push them down to the bench. But he's doing okay up front. But we have almost nothing at all on the bench. We've got 2 youth team strikers, a youth team midfielder, low knee defender, Jack Collison, who I think I'm on the verge of releasing this guy when the transfer window comes around. He's taking £3,000 a week. He's managed 2 games all season, and he only made it 25 minutes into one of them. So unless he breaks into the side now and has 4 or 5 fantastic games in a row, as soon as 1st of January comes around, I think he's going to be packing his bags, assuming the board let me release him. I'm not sure what length his contract is. Let's have a look, actually. That's probably the sort of thing I should have looked at before. I see he's contracted to the end of the season. It's not going to cost a huge amount of money to move him on, and I think it's something we need to be looking at to free up a squad space. And I'm also toying with the idea of letting Michael Bostwick go. He's a very useful squad player to have around, but in a similar vein to Erhan Oztumer, he's not a first choice in any position. He's sort of my first reserve at both centre-back and central midfield. If everybody's fit, I'm playing Zakwani and Baldwin at centre-back and Anderson and Doyle in midfield. So Bostwick, he's getting games, but only as a backup, and doesn't have a position that's his own. And he's the highest paid player in the squad. He's bringing in £6,000 a week, and that's 2 or 3 players worth of wage there. So I think ideal world, he's got a value of 700,000. If I can find anyone willing to pay even half that, I mean 350, 400,000 of extra transfer money plus all that extra wage budget, that's the sort of money that could come in and then fill this bench up, so we're not having to put so many youth players on it. So I'm hoping there's going to be quite a lot of moving and shuffling around once the transfer window opens again in a couple of weeks. But for now, that is enough waffle. Let's get into this match away to Wigan. So if I submit my team, we're handing out a squad number because Brad Maslin-Jones is another youth team player. He's pretty much the only fit player in any of our squads who's not yet played for the first team this season. So I'm almost certainly going to have to bring him on just so I can say everyone contracted to us has had a game. Yeah, we're hoping for another clean sheet today. We don't care what we're going to doing. We're only focused on ourselves. Wow, that's a defensive formation for them to be playing at home. That's the second best team in the league, everybody. I wonder if that's how they play every week or if they're scared of us. Let's ask Gary Breen for his opposition instructions. Always ask him, just because he's the defensive guy. I keep meaning to set this up to happen automatically because I never even look at what he's done. But if we now do team talk as well, that's fine. Let's crack on with the match. I didn't notice who was the favourite. I usually look at that on the way through. I'm assuming we're probably the favourites. We're unbeaten in 19 games and 10 points clear. But then Wigan are a big club who are at home. I feel like this is the closest we'll come to getting defeated since the Everton game. I don't know if it'll actually come to that because there kind of is that feeling of invincibility around the team now. And what part of me is thinking, could I have my first ever undefeated season? I've basically just given us the kiss of death for this match by saying that. I know I have. But yeah, in 20 years of Football Manager games, I don't think I've ever had a completely undefeated league season. I'll have to check through my Steam achievements. I could at least look at the last 5 years. See if I've had the Invincibles achievement pop. I think that's what it's called. I'm certain I've never had it. But it's not going to be an issue because I just feel a Wigan goal coming now. I mean, we're ahead on possession. Both had a couple of shots. No one's really created anything significant yet. We're only 15 minutes in. Good to see we're knocking the ball around and outpassing them again. Oh, that was a bit nervy there. Was that a mishit from their striker maybe? That felt like that was going to be their opportunity to go one up. And that is a lovely, well-worked free kick. I wonder if Maddison meant to float that in for Zaquani or whether it was a mishit shot. Let's have a look on the 3D replay, see what was going on there. It feels like the sort of position where Maddison should have been shooting from, but no, he's hit that right-footed. That is a cross. And why would their defenders let it bounce? That is woeful defending. If I'd have conceded a goal like that, I would be pulling the entire back four off at half-time. Just not having... ridiculous. But I'll take it. That'll do. And I guess that's our one clear-cut chance we've had so far. Possession fairly even. Going into the last 10 minutes of this first half. Would be nice to pick up another goal before half-time just to ease some of our tired legs, if anything. It'd be nice to be able to take some of these players off and start resting some people. Oh, that's not what we wanted to see. That feels against the run of play. Just what was it? A lump ball forward. Well, nice through ball. I'm going to call it a lump ball forward. A cross onto the head of their big lone striker. And it's 1-1. And I feel robbed at the moment. Even though our goal was purely a result of their terrible defending. You know what? They feel like the most likely to score before half-time as well. I think I've got too big for my boots. Getting too excited too soon about the potential of being invincibles. And yeah, we need to get hold of this game again. We've made 50 more passes than they have, though. We're such a good footballing team. Right, I'm going to leave things untouched for the second half for now. I'm not sure how long some of these players are going to be able to hold out. Usually, by this stage of the season, I would be looking to rotate the likes of Forrester, Anderson, players who are struggling a little bit for fitness, quite young, in their first full season in professional football. I just don't have anyone to rotate them with, especially with Washington and Angol being out injured. It kind of takes away all my attacking options. I think Gardner's injured as well, who's there as another midfield option. Collison may as well be injured because he can't manage more than 20 minutes at a time, whether he's starting or coming off the bench. But I think I'm going to have to bring Jack Collison on just because I'm not sure what other options I've got. Forrester is dead on his feet. And yeah, it's got to be Collison. So what I'm actually going to do is play... I've been in the cup matches I've played recently, I've tried Collison for 20-minute bursts in this more attacking role, in the hope that, being the advanced playmaker, he doesn't have to be as mobile. So there's the potential for him to use his obvious skill and experience to perhaps craft some chances without having the added pressure of covering the mileage he has to cover from a central midfield position. So it might even be a potential long-term position for him, if this could be his way of saving his spot in the squad by making that position something he can work with long-term. But at the moment, it's all just theory. He's not done anything particularly special there in the couple of 20-minute bursts he's had so far. We've got a lot of players struggling now. We need to make another change. This isn't looking good for us today. I think we're running out of steam. I think I'm going to bring Jack Friend on for Oztema. Scored such a cracker in midweek. It does seem bizarre bringing a young lad on for a top of the table clash. I mean, how old is this kid? He's 18 years old, and this is going to be his league debut. Yeah, away in a top of the table clash when we need a goal. I'm going to just make that one change for now, purely because I don't really have another change to make. I'd like to freshen up the midfield a little bit. I know Michael Smith, the backup right back, he's capable of playing in central midfield, but I'm always a bit wary, especially in bigger games that are tighter, of making all the substitutions too early, because you almost always end up with an injury and you're down to 10 men. And Taylor could have put that in there. The keeper absolutely flapped at that. Zaquani again, maybe? I'm getting nervous now. The unbeaten run is hanging by a thread, I think, here. We don't want to see Wigan attacking. Certainly don't want them to have the ball there. Get the ball away, lads. Right, we need another substitution. What can we do, though? Michael Bostwick is not playing well. He's tired and he's on a yellow card. If I've learnt anything about that man this season, it's that combination of factors means get him off the pitch. I'm actually going to bring Alex Davey on for him and move Jack Baldwin up into midfield. We did this in the Johnson's Paint Trophy match in midweek as well, and Baldwin also scored a beautiful goal, a curler from the edge of the area, playing a little bit more advanced. So it's something I know he can do, and he is capable of popping up with a goal from there. The only problem is it obviously weakens the defence a little bit, because Alex Davies is a much weaker defender than Baldwin is. But I don't know. Do I want to go for the win? Do I want to protect the draw? What's more important? Pulling out a bigger gap at the top of the table, or trying to go for that invincible record? Oh, it's going to be off the table in a minute. We just need to get the ball away. The team are exhausted. Still being in all the cup competitions is really taking its toll. The last two games we played have been FA Cup and Johnson's Paint Trophy matches. I imagine we're going to have been resting while we've been faffing around in those cups. Go on, lads, let's pick up a winner now. That would be ridiculous if we did, because we don't deserve it. We've had more possession than they have, but we've not created anything really. Our one goal would come from a terrible piece of defending. The stats say we've had 2 clear-cut chances, but I'm not sure what they were. I guess the goal was one. I'm not sure I remember a second one. There you go. I guess I agree with my assistant. Unlucky it wasn't our night. To be fair, it wasn't our night because we are down to about 12 fully fit players, but ultimately Angol and Washington are going to be fit again within the week. We're still 10 points clear. Even with such a bare bones squad, the second best team in the league by a comfortable margin couldn't beat us at home. So I think all is looking good going into that transfer window. My next episode is going to be probably right at the end of that transfer window. So hopefully I'll be able to start things off with a nice run of wins again in the league, but also some comings and goings on the transfer front as I start to freshen up the squad, try and shift some of these higher earning players out and replace them with some younger, cheaper prospects who can hopefully give us a squad of maybe 17, 18 players to pick from for the rest of the season, and bring some of those loan players back in as well. We'll see how that turns out. I would love to hear your thoughts on what you'd do in this situation now in the comments. So we are what do? You're 10 points clear, you're coming up to Christmas, but you've got no money and you need to start building for next year. What are you going for? Do you want to bring in that one good player who could be a potential match winner? Are you going for 4 or 5 youngsters? I'm kind of leaning towards the youngsters thing, but I'd love to hear what you think and get a bit of a discussion going down there in the comments. And obviously, if you've enjoyed the video, or even if you haven't, if you've made it this far through, stick a like on there, because every like that all the videos get makes a massive difference. It makes them easier to search, makes them more visible. So if you've made it this far into the video, pop a like on there for me, and obviously subscribe as well, so you make sure you don't miss out on the future episodes. Thanks very much for watching.